Hey folks, welcome. My name is Emily and this is Gently Chaotic Knits, which is generally a video podcast series where I give you updates on all the things I've been knitting, mostly sometimes some other crafting, but really pretty much just what I've been knitting and maybe spinning. I am coming to you from Seattle, Washington, where I live here with my pup Norman, who is sleeping sweetly by my feet right now, and my husband, and I don't know what else I normally say here. Again, as I feel like I've been saying every single time recently, it has been a really long time since I last updated y'all and sat down to record and share what's been going on. I think it's been over a month, so I probably don't have as much to talk about as you might expect given that it's been over a month, but I do have a lot to talk about today, so buckle in. I think it might be a little bit longer. We'll see if I even have enough time to record today. It is Sunday, March 23rd. I'm certain that the last time I recorded was in February. I don't remember exactly when in February, but anyway, I feel like I really need to just jump right in and start talking about things. Otherwise, we're never gonna make it. So now I'm like in my head that I have my camera on the wrong setting and that my audio is going to be messed up again. So I'm just going to double check that because I do not want to record this whole thing. So one sec. Okay, we're good to go. Camera setting was fine, but the battery is almost dead. So I got myself plugged in and now we're ready to go. I got my notes here. I tried to write everything down. Let's do it. Let's jump right in. Okay, first things first, finished objects. I only have two, which is kind of a bummer considering how long it's been, but it's a good two, so let me share with you what they are. First up is also what I'm wearing. This is the Lauder vest by Rebecca Clow, who is the Crea on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. And here it is. I'm so pleased. Let me share with you all the details. So again, this is the Lauder vest. I used Bushtale Shale, which 8-ply. I think they may have a thinner one as well, which is a New Zealand Merino and Bushtale possum blend that I got when I was in New Zealand last year. I guess it was last year. The colorway is the colorway Shale. Yeah, Bushtale 8-ply is the yarn, and I think the colorway is Shale. Anyway, it's a DK weight. Like I mentioned, I think it's 70% Merino, 30% Bushtale possum blend. I love the way that this yarn feels. I loved working with this yarn. Really, really enjoyed it. I knit, I think, let me see, I think I took a note of this. I knit size 3 of the pattern, but my gauge was pretty off. Well, I don't remember how off. After blocking, it might not have been too off, but I knit size 3, which is more ease than the pattern called for, because I wanted it to be a little bit oversized here. So I think I definitely got the fit that I was looking for. And I used a US 4 needle, which I think also was going up a needle size. But I really like the fabric. I was nervous about all this. I think last time I recorded, maybe I had already blocked it, but I hadn't done all the edging, so I was almost done. But anyway, I was nervous about the fabric, but after blocking it, I love the way it turned out. I did make some pretty significant modifications to the pattern. The biggest one, I mean, aside from just like the ease and the gauge and that kind of stuff, I guess you could say I modified, but the biggest modification I made was to the neckline. So I wanted the V to be quite a bit deeper than in the pattern. So what I did was I just did the increases on the front pieces half as frequently as was called for. So if I had knit it to pattern, my V would be half as deep. Does that make sense? As far as like from the increase section, it would be that increase section would be cut in half. So I really like the way that it turned out. I really like this depth. Last time I was deciding about whether I wanted to do some ribbing around the armholes and the neckline. I did decide to go back and do that. I was unsure whether I wanted to do 1x1 rib or 2x2. Since I did 1x1 rib for the bottom, I decided to just do 1x1 rib. I think that's what the pattern calls for anyway. I do kind of like with the cabled vest, I like a 2x2 rib, but I decided to just stick with it. So I did 1x1 rib, and I did about, I don't know, an inch or so of ribbing. And then I did less on the armholes because I did not want it to drop too much farther past my shoulder. So I did just a little bit of ribbing around the armholes, and I really like how that turned out as well. I think the shape is great. The only thing is I did not go down a needle size for any of the ribbing. I just did it on the needle size, the US 4 that I did for the body. And I think that I wish I'd gone down a needle size for the ribbing at the bottom. It doesn't, I wish it came in a little bit. It's like almost a little wavy at the bottom here. So I do wish I had gone down 1 or 2 needle sizes for the ribbing around the body. If I really wanted to, I could go back and I could reknit all the ribbing, or at least the bottom one. I could leave these and just reknit the bottom ribbing, but I don't think I dislike it enough to do that. Sorry, I'm like cutting off the top of my head. I don't think I'm unhappy enough with it to go back and fix the ribbing. So I think I'll leave it. I also tend to wear it, I mean, I don't know, maybe not with the vest. I was gonna say I tend to wear it tucked in the front anyway, but I guess with the vest, I don't really do that. That's more with my pullovers. I like to tuck them in the front, so, but it's okay. It really doesn't, it doesn't bother me that much. I am anticipating wearing this pretty much exclusively as a layering piece, so on top of other things. That's the way I've been wearing it so far. I have a black and white striped shirt that I really like to wear it on top of. I couldn't wear it on top of that today because that shirt is in the wash, which, speaking of, if you hear my washing machine and my heater and my dog, all that stuff, I'm very sorry. But anyway, I like to wear it over a striped shirt. I have worn a ton of times. I've worn it some over short sleeve shirts as well, like short sleeves. Sorry, Norman's trying to get himself covered by the blanket. But yeah, I really, really like it over stripes. So I have some short sleeve striped shirts. I've worn it over short sleeves before. I like it over, yeah, just like a plain black long sleeve shirt, or the black and white, or I guess white and black. It's mostly white, just has black stripes. Long sleeve shirt. I've worn it over in the past as well, which I also really like. I'm realizing I think I need more just classic long sleeve shirts for layering, which I have some knit fabrics to sew t-shirts with. I was planning to do short sleeve t-shirts, but maybe I should make a long sleeve t-shirt. I don't know. By the time I get around to sewing them, who knows what I'll want to do. Sewing, we'll see. But anyway, this is my Lauder vest. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I've already worn it a ton since finishing it. It's really nice and warm. I messed up one of the cables. I don't know if I can even find it. Just like not fully messed up. I did it the right direction, but I kind of like, I think I must have caught one of the stitches or something, so the cable does not look very nice and clean up on one of the front pieces. But I mean, from far away, you guys probably can't even notice it, and it's hard for me to find anyway, but when I did find it, I was like, argh! Dang it, because it's so far back, there's no way I was gonna go back and fix it. I would have had to undo the entire body to get there, so that's not happening. Sorry, let me take a sip. But otherwise, I'm really happy with it. I've been wearing it a lot. Very pleased. So that is my first finished object. And my second finished object, let me see, where did I put it? Here. My second finished object is my February socks. So let me hold them up for you. This is kind of the Midsummer Dancer socks by Sari Nordlund. I say kind of just because I modified the top part. The original pattern has this like ruffly edging. Norman, I tried to help cover you. Okay, there you go. Okay, sorry. The original pattern has this like ruffly top, which I am not a huge fan of because I mostly wear my socks with like boots, and under jeans and that kind of thing. So I did not want to do that. I think the ruffle's super cute, but it just doesn't fit with the way that I wear my socks mostly. So I just switched it out for a 1x1 rib. I actually did a little tubular cast on for these too. So it's got a nice pretty edging, and then the cute like floral lace pattern is very cute. Let me tell you the yarn. This is Woolberry Fiber Co. It's a sock set that I got from actually the La Mercerie physical shop opening in Polsbo years ago. The main color is Sandcastle. I don't know if the contrast color has a name. It just came in the Sandcastle sock set, which Sandcastle was originally a La Mercerie special colorway. So that was really special to get that. And I thought that these socks were just the perfect romantic February socks. So I have already blocked them, as you can see. I have already woven in the ends, and I trimmed the ends literally moments before hitting record here. So I'm a little bit behind on that, but I have completely finished these. I have not worn them yet. I don't know, it probably doesn't make that much of a difference, but it's felt too cold to wear lace socks because of the holes. I don't know, so I haven't worn them yet. But as we go into this like transition period from winter to spring, I feel like these are the perfect socks because they're nice wool socks, but they're a little bit holey. I don't know, breathable. Maybe that's what I'll call it. I don't know. I don't know if this pattern had sizes. I don't remember, and I don't remember. I finished these a while ago, so I don't remember if there were sizes, how many stitches it was, but I do know that I used a US size 0 needle, as I always do on my socks. My guess is it was somewhere between 60 and 64 stitches, because that's what I generally do for my socks. And then, yeah, I believe I finished these on March 1st, I think. So I didn't quite make it in February, but February is a short month, so I think that's fine. Right? But a reminder, if you are new here or if you don't remember, I am trying to do a year of socks for 2025 where I knit a pair of socks each month. And I picked all the yarn out ahead of time for each month because I'm trying to knit exclusively through yarn that I had already in my stash. And yeah, this was February. I also finished a pair of socks early in the year. Like I guess I had a rollover, like a hangover pair of socks that was not finished yet that I finished in January in addition to my January socks. So I think I'll actually knit 13 pairs of socks this year if I achieve my goal. But that's a very big if, because you'll see one of my works in progress is my March socks, and I'm not doing as good, but that's okay. Anyway, February socks finished roughly on time, and I'm very happy with how they turned out. I like the pink and yellow together too. I think it's cute. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about that. Wow, I really feel like I need to keep drinking. That is the end of my finished objects. That's all I finished since I last recorded. But well, I guess that's not true. That's the end of my knitting finished objects. I have a spinning finished object that I will share about later, but let's go first into the knitting works in progress. So a couple of things. One that y'all have seen before that I've actually made, I think, a good amount of progress on. I don't know, maybe not a good amount of progress considering that it's been a month, but a good amount of progress. Still, I don't know, I've made progress. Okay, next up is my Crosshatch wrap, which is a pattern I'm mostly following by Jared Flood. And here it is. It's not gonna fit. It's not gonna fit in the frame because look at her. Here, if I scoot back and I go diagonal, maybe. There you go. Look at how much longer it is. Okay, now I'm feeling good. I've made a good amount of progress on this. Here it is. I feel like I'm at least halfway, right? This is at least half as long as you would want like a scarf wrap to be, right? Okay, anyway, this is the Crosshatch wrap. It's a giant 1x1 2-color brioche wrap. And so I'm using 2 yarns for this. The dark gray is Rerum Natura Gilliat in the colorway Fusain, which I had some left over already from a sweater that I knit for my husband. And the cream side is Spinaway Farms Italian Merino. It's just a sport weight, natural, cream colored merino yarn that I got from New York Sheep and Wool Festival in 2023. So this is the, let's see here. This is the Gilliat. I'm almost done with this ball. And this is the Italian Merino, Spinaway Farms. I just started a new ball. So here are the yarns. I think I have in my bag my next Gilliat, so you can see, yeah, here it is with the tag. It's all crumpled. But that is what that's pretty. I like this yarn a lot. There she is. So anyway, okay, I remembered to put a marker on here where I left off last time I recorded. So I can show you all the progress I've made since the last time I recorded. And it is, you can see the marker here. Can I hold this with one hand so that I can show you here? There, that is where I was last time. So I've done this much. I like to keep a day-by-day marker so I can track my progress each day, and this is the marker I've been using for day by day. This is not today. I haven't worked on this in quite some time, but whatever the last day I worked on this is how much I did that day. This marker also is an acquisition, which I'll talk about my acquisitions at the end here, but it's from Knitting in Root, I think is what her handle is on Instagram, but I picked up at Rose City Yarn Crawl and is very cute. I like it very much. Anyway, I'm making progress. I was having, after I finished this vest, I have actually 2 other garments on my needles that I was like, I'm gonna focus on those. And I just really was not feeling it. I wasn't feeling either of those garments. If you remember, I'm working on a long sleeved color tip tee, which I think it's just, it was too cold and I didn't want to be working on a fingering weight sweater. I just felt like I wanted to work on something warmer. And then I'm also working on a Northwoods v-neck in boucle, which in this pretty pink, you might be able to see it. It's right here in my cabinet, my in progress v-neck. Anyway, I don't know, I wasn't feeling that. I think it's the boucle, I just was not feeling it. So I knew had plans to cast on another sweater with my friends later in the month, which you will hear all about that also a little bit later. But I was like, I don't want to start anything new right before I start that. So I either wanted to work on my in progress garments or nothing. So anyway, since I wasn't feeling those garments, I just knit quite a lot on this. I know, it maybe doesn't look like that much, but this is like 80 stitches across, and it's 2-color brioche, so every row you have to do twice, and I don't know, I feel like it's a good amount. It's a good amount of progress. So I worked mostly on this for like, I don't know, a week or 2. I honestly I've been in a lull with my knitting as well over the last month or so. So the time that I did spend knitting, I was working on this and my socks, which I'll share in a second too. But I wasn't really working on any garments for a while. But yeah, that's my crosshatch wrap. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It's so squishy. I love how squishy it is. This is one where I really am ready for this to be done. I don't think I'm gonna make it in time to wear it this winter. I mean, it's not winter anymore. It turned spring like 3 days ago, but I really want to finish it for next fall and winter. Probably winter. This is gonna be so warm. It's not for fall. Look at it though. It's so squishy and it's so good. I'm just gonna stay here. It's kind of like a pillow. There's so much fabric. I should fly with this. I should bring this when I fly and use it as a pillow on the flight. And also because I'm always cold on planes. And also because then it doesn't have to fit in my suitcase because it's giant. Wow. This is such a good idea. I am going to finish this, and then whenever I'm going anywhere cold, I'm going to bring this on my flight and wear it on the plane. And it will be pillow and warmth. Blanket, basically. Okay, great. Now I'm like, I have to finish this. Okay, that's that. Next, work in progress. Let's talk about my March socks. So, March and April are both gift knits for the socks. And they're both boy socks, which doing them back to back was maybe not the best move because boy socks just take so long. I don't know. It's like boy sweaters too. They just, why do they not like things cropped? And why are their feet so long? I don't know. Anyway, I am knitting. This is the Almost Argyle socks, which is a sock pattern by me, which, I mean, as I do with everything, I will link below if you're interested in the pattern. What was I saying? So Almost Argyle socks, the yarn is Grenouille in the colorway Lampblack, which is a favorite of mine. I guess she likes gray. Interesting. And I am knitting the size large. The pattern comes in 2 sizes, a 60 stitch size and a 72 stitch size. This is the 72 stitch size. I'm knitting it on a size US 0 needle. I feel like this sock is taking forever. I started this sock on March 1st and I haven't been knitting any garments, barely any, for the entire month of March. It's March 23rd. This is the first sock. I am not done with it. It's 72 stitches around and my sock gauge, I figured out my sock gauge problem. So my sock gauge is tighter, which means that I just feel like I have to knit so much. But I tried it on this. Did I say that this is for my husband? This is for Nofis, my husband. And I tried it on his foot last night thinking that it was almost time for the toe, and it's not. It's really not. I have to go like another 1.5 inches probably before I put in the toe. I need to finish this though because I need to start the second one. I'm gonna be behind. I think there's no way that I finish these socks in March and then in April I'm knitting a pair of socks for my brother, and he has such long feet, and so I think I'm gonna be really behind. So I need to, I don't remember what my May yarn is for socks, but I need to pick a simple basic pattern because I think I'm gonna need to sprint through the May socks to catch back up because I am definitely gonna be behind after March and April. I think, yeah, doing 2 boy socks in a row was not the move. And these also is so sweet. I let my husband decide what sock pattern he wanted. I asked him, do you want ribbed socks? Do you want whatever? Like, you can look on Ravelry or I can show you some sock patterns or whatever. And he said he wanted Almost Argyle, which is my sock pattern. So that's so, so sweet of him. And of course I love this pattern because I made it myself, but it would have been faster if he picked just like a plain ribbed sock or just like a basic stockinette sock, like a classic sock, but that's okay. I think it's turning out really nice. I was worried that the color might be too dark, that you wouldn't be able to see the diamond pattern, but it's showing up beautifully. It's really, really, oh, it's so good. It's really good. I love how it's turning out. Yeah, it's good. So it's worth the effort. Definitely. And also he is incredibly knitworthy and very sweet. I think it's very sweet that he wanted a pair of Almost Argyle socks, but yeah, boy socks, man, they just take longer. So I'm honestly nervous. I never worry about this when I'm knitting a pair of socks for myself because I never use the full skein, but I'm like, am I gonna use over half of my skein of yarn on this sock and not have enough for the second sock? I need to weigh it. This is what I think I'm fine. This looks like more than half the skein, but I mean, I'm not done yet. Not done with sock 1 yet. Okay, and then this stitch marker is also another one from Knitting in Root. Knitting in Root, I think is probably how I say it. Let me see if it'll focus. The red is so bright that the camera is like, no, but you can see it's got a little flower on it. So cute. This is the amount of sock that I did yesterday. So just a little bit, but we'll see. I really need to finish these soon. Can I even finish 1 sock before the end of March? God, that would be bad. I need to go. I need to hurry up. Okay. Anything else about that? Size large, 72 stitches, US size 0 needle. I said the yarn, I said the pattern. Gotta get going on the March socks. Okay. My next work in progress is also a new one. Okay, so I had some garment woes, which I'll talk about in a second, but I was feeling frustrated. And I just wanted to cast something on that was colorful and fun and that I didn't have to think too much about. And I'd been talking for a while, I think I shared on the podcast before as well, that I wanted to knit a blanket. And I decided to start. So I cast on a Sweet Shop blanket by Penrose. I'm, of course, doing things a little bit different, and I have kind of slightly modified it, but here's what I have so far. Here she is. Wow, it is so fun. This is delightful. Look at that. Oh, I'm very pleased. I'm very, very pleased with how this is turning out. So anyway, if you haven't seen the Sweet Shop blanket pattern before, it is a whole bunch of these like modular squares. Each one is made up of 2 triangles, and the way that I've mostly seen it and the way that she did it in the pattern is that there is one main color. So each of your squares has half of it is the same color. A lot of people just use like a cream color for that. And then you use like different colors for the contrast color for each square. But I didn't want to do that, I guess. I didn't want to have like a main color. So I'm just using leftover yarns, scrap yarns for the whole thing. So no main color for me. I'm just doing whatever for the squares. I sorted my yarn. You can actually see behind me in these 2 bins in my cabinet. I sorted my yarn into lighter colors and darker colors. And the idea is that I'm going to do mostly like the squares are going to have 1 lighter color and 1 darker color just so that there's at least enough contrast. But I mean, clearly like I don't care that much because there's a light color here and a light color here next to each other, and I think it's enough contrast and it's fine. So I'm more just kind of playing it by ear. I'm picking out yarns from my bins that are left over and I'm putting them together. And the other modification I'm making is that I am making some of the diagonals go the other way. So you can notice that like on these 2 squares, I just did it as written. The diagonal is going the way that the pattern called for, and in the pattern, all the diagonals go this way, so they're all exactly the same. But I wanted to do kind of random and like mix up the direction of the diagonal, so I just did this one the other way. And I really like the way that it looks. So I don't have a plan for the layout, for the colors, for when I'm gonna switch up the diagonal. I'm just kind of gonna vibe, and I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna do whatever I feel. And I'm loving that. I'm really loving how it's turning out. Knitting these squares is really fun. I am knitting on a US size 5 needle. I think the pattern calls for a 6, but I think my 6s were occupied, and so I was like, I'll probably do a 5. I knit loose anyway, so I didn't swatch or anything because who cares, but I did just knit it on a 5. And then, yeah, the yarns, I think I remember all of these. The yellow, the light blue, and the dark blue are all leftovers from my stripe pipe sweater. And so that's a DK weight yarn that I just used 1 strand of. This, like oaty color is one of the strands from my Doppio sweater that was a fingering weight yarn, so I did that one held double. And then this red one, I think, I have used a lot of this general color recently. I can't remember if this is Kindred Spirits from Woolberry Fiber Co. because I knit a pair of socks with that. Or this could be Barn from Life in the Long Grass, which I used for my Hour pullover. That was actually a sport weight. I think it could have been that one because this felt a little bit thick. So I think this is Barn from Life in the Long Grass. And then this gray, I think, is Corey Worsted from La Bien-Aimée, but it's not the Corey Worsted that I used for my dad's sweater. I used a light gray, but this is a different gray. I kind of think that my friend used this yarn and had some left over and gave it to me. So I just had like a leftover partial skein of it. But I'm pretty sure this is Corey Worsted, just by the way that it looks and feels. I think that it is. And I'm pretty sure that I got that from my friend. So anyway, I've got some more picked out. I think I have on my desk. Let me grab them and see. I can show you what some of my next squares are gonna be. Let's see. I'm gonna do this next, these two. This is Pearl Soho Linen Quill that I used in a shawl and then also in my original sample of my color tip tee. And this, I think, is maybe Peachy Keen from Woolberry, which I've tried to use for socks before and it just like didn't work out or something, I don't know. And then I think maybe I used it for heels and toes at some point. I think I gave some to a friend for heels and toes maybe. I don't remember, but I kind of think this is Peachy Keen from Woolberry, but I'm not 100% sure. But these are both fingering weight, so I'll hold both of these double. Another one I'm excited about is this one. These are both from my original Slanty Stripes sample, and they're both Woolberry. I don't remember the colors. This one might be Marigold. Is this Puget Sound? I don't remember, but I think these are both Woolberry fingering weight, so I will also be holding these ones double, but I think that'll be really cute. And then I have this one I might do soon too. This is Grenouille Lampblack in a singles base. I think the Merino Linen base from my second color tip tee. And then this is Woolberry Very Natural DK in the colorway. Ooh, what is it? It's like Cool Breeze or something like that. And I used this for my Calm Down cardigan. But I thought those would be nice together too. So those are just some of the ones I have picked out to do next. I'm not sure how I'm going to construct it, if I'm going to go like row by row, if I'm going to go out more in like squares. I guess I've already done 3, but I could do a 3x3 square and then keep going out from there. I'm trying to think about what would be the least unwieldy to work on, how I want to structure it, construct it. I'm also not 100% sure how big I want it to be. I think I want it to be a rectangle and not a square. And I want it to be like a lap blanket sized at least. I don't need it to be big enough to go on a bed or anything. I really am imagining it like folding it up and putting it on the back of this chair, or I don't know, sitting on the couch with it, just tossing it on top of my lap. So I'm thinking maybe like 8x10 or 7x11. Is that too like long and skinny? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I should just go all the way across until it's the width that I want. And then I'll just go back and forth until it's the length that I want. That way I can kind of see it. I don't have to plan it out ahead of time. That could work. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm not gonna finish this for a really, really long time. I anticipate this being something that I work on for years. I don't even know, like, I'm being a little bit picky with the scraps that I use. Most of my scrap yarn or my leftover yarn fits the vibe that I want, because the vibe that I want is basically colors that I like, and I knit, the leftover yarn I have is generally colors that I like because I chose to knit with it before. So I don't have to be that selective, but there are some I'm like, oh, this undertone is like a little bit not quite what I want, or I'm doing pretty much all solid, so I have some variegated leftover yarns that I probably won't put in there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have enough to do like the whole blanket right now, but I am gonna keep knitting, so I'll keep producing leftovers. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't even know if I could finish it right now or like soon if I wanted to, because I don't know if I have enough, but it doesn't matter because I'm not gonna finish it soon anyway, and I will keep producing leftovers and scraps. And also, like, my knitting group, my friends and I have a really good system of sharing yarn, and especially like leftovers and scraps with each other too. So I could probably get some for my friends too. So yeah, but it's been really, really fun. I've enjoyed working on it so far. I want to keep working on it, but if it's weird, I have this mental block in my head that is this project, like when I'm knitting on it, it doesn't count. It doesn't feel like it counts toward my goals, because knitting or finishing this blanket, one, I know is like gonna happen so far from now, and also knitting a blanket wasn't one of my like monthly goals. I'm trying to finish a pair of socks and a garment every month and whatever. So it feels almost like wasted time in some ways, which I hate that I have that perspective and that mental block about it. And I think honestly working on it and getting joy out of it and encouraging myself to do that has helped me in some ways reshape my feeling about my goals and my knitting. It's like, this is what I want to work on right now. This is what I'm feeling like working on. Who cares if I'm not, you know, grinding away at a sock or a garment that would contribute to my annual goals or whatever. I want to work on it, so I'm going to work on it. But even if that means that that's time I could have spent progressing my goals, it's worthwhile to me to spend time working on something that I'm enjoying. So anyway, I'm having fun with it. The color aspect is really fun to me too. And yeah, I don't know how often I'll share updates on it. I don't know how often I'll work on it. I don't know any of that. It's not like very well planned, but it is just fun. So I'm gonna try to keep it that way. Anyway, that is my last work in progress. That's all I've been working on is socks. I finished this vest and I started a blanket. And I guess the big wrap too. That's pretty much it. I have done a little bit of other knitting, but it was no good. So maybe our next section can be my failed attempts. And I can share with you my failed attempts. Let me take another sip and we'll get into it. Okay, I don't remember if I talked about this on the podcast before, but I had plans originally to make the book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund with some of my friends. And we had planned we were going to cast on, I think originally we were going to cast on in February, and then we decided we were going to cast on it in March, and we were going to cast on at Rose City Yarn Crawl, which we all went to together. And then the book club pullover came out, and I was really undecided about whether I wanted to do the cardigan or the pullover, but I really wear my pullovers a lot more than I wear my cardigans. I really loved the pullover, and I just felt like I'd get more wear out of it and more use out of it if I did the pullover. So I decided instead of doing the cardigan, I'm gonna do the book club pullover. I already had my yarn picked out. The yarn I wanted to use for either the cardigan or the pullover, whichever one I decided to knit, was this yarn, which is from Kerry Woolen Mills in Ireland. It is a Aran weight yarn. The pattern calls for worsted weight. I knew this was gonna be a little bit thick, but I figured I could just knit a smaller size and go up a needle size or two and that it would be fine. I really did not want to buy yarn specifically for this project. I'm really making an effort to use the yarns that I have in stash. I didn't have any worsted weight yarn in my stash that was ready to use, and I thought that with the cables and everything, this would look really good. So I decided to move forward. I knit a swatch, and I'm trying to see where, if I have my swatch somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so before heading to Rose City Yarn Crawl, I knit a swatch, and here it is. It's pretty, it's cute. I really like the way that it looks. The fabric was a little bit dense, but I wasn't too worried about it. It's okay to make something that's kind of dense. I thought it would be okay. I blocked it. It did soften and loosen up a lot. So I thought, okay, I think this will be fine. Go to Rose City Yarn Crawl. I brought my yarn, ready to cast on. I brought my swatch. I shared my swatch with my friends. And a couple of my friends were like, this is kind of dense. Like, are you sure about this? And I was like, I'm sure. This is going to be fine. I'm going to go up one more needle size from what I did with the swatch, and it's going to be fine. We go to cast on, and I go up a needle size, and I'm a little concerned about my gauge. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, and I'm still a little bit concerned about the fabric, but I decided to just cast on and go for it. So I cast on, and I start, and you can see this is not on a needle actively, but the way that it looks is so good and so cute, but the fabric feels really dense, and this is even up a needle size. And I think it's just with more of the cables in the fabric, it's just like, especially these cable panels here are so dense. And so I was fully in denial about this. I was like, this looks great, I'm gonna keep going. And then fortunately, I have friends who care about me and will tell me the hard truth, even when I don't really want to hear it. So I had a couple of my friends at Rose City Yarn Crawl, like, can I feel that? What's going on over there? We kind of passed it around. My friends were like, Emily, you can't do this. This is way too dense. It's way too dense. It just doesn't feel good. You're not even going to be able to lower your arms after you knit this pullover. You can't do this. It's like, I don't know. I really had my heart set on this. I didn't feel like I had any other yarn that I could use for this project. I wanted to knit along with my friends. My friends tried to convince me as well to switch and pivot to the cardigan because, I don't know, it just felt like for outerwear, it could be a little bit more dense and it wouldn't be as big of a deal, which I agree with. But I think at this point I had my heart set on the pullover and I was just like, I don't think I'll wear the cardigan as much. I have other plans to make other cardigans this year, so I really would rather knit the pullover. So I wasn't sure what to do. I was feeling kind of deflated and not great about it. That night I went and took a shower and I was thinking about what my options are. I went to bed and I was having trouble sleeping and I was trying to think about like what I could do. I wasn't necessarily just having trouble sleeping because of this, although that would happen to me. I'm not saying that that wouldn't happen to me. It was also like the daylight savings night and whatever. Anyway, I was just, oh, can you hear Norm's making little sounds in his sleep? Anyway, I was like, I don't know if y'all can relate to this or not. I don't want to make it seem like this was the end of the world. Oh my gosh, everything's over. I'm so upset because it wasn't like, I wasn't so upset. I knew I could figure something out and it would be fine. And even if I couldn't knit this project, it would not be that big of a deal. But it was disappointing because I really had my heart set on this. I love to, you all know, I love to knit along with my friends and I really wanted to be able to participate in this. And so it's like, I really don't want to buy more yarn for this. I really want to use what I have. I really wanted this to work. So anyway, as I was trying to fall asleep, maybe somewhat in trying to think of a new solution, but maybe also somewhat in an attempt to make myself fall asleep, I decided to go through and try to think of every yarn in my yarn cabinet, which I will say, kind of a strong try to fall asleep strategy. I don't know. I've heard tons and tons of like, try this if you can't fall asleep, whatever, like a whole bunch of different ideas for things you can try. And I don't know, some work better than others, but the idea is essentially you need to like try to make your brain stop fixating on whatever it's fixating on. And so like trying to think about something that's more like, I don't know, rote, kind of, I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean? Like if you can convince your brain to slow down a little bit and like not have to think so hard and like turn the cognitive function down a little bit, I guess. So anyway, I was like, maybe I'll try to just picture in my mind my yarn cabinet and think through every yarn in my yarn cabinet, because I still wasn't sure what to do. We had one more day of Rose City yarn crawl. This was like Saturday night, so we were going back to a couple stores on Sunday. I was like, do I need to just buy new yarn so that I can participate in the knit along, whatever. So as I was thinking through all of the yarns in my yarn cabinet, I thought of a couple of yarns I had that I didn't really have a plan for. I thought, what if I use these for the book club pullover? So I decided that's what I was going to do. I needed to get another strand of yarn, but I decided I wanted to try to use these yarns. So I think I've shared these on the podcast before, but this yarn is, it's Jacaranda is the brand, I think. I don't remember what the base is called. Let me see. I think I might have it in my notes. Yeah, Jacaranda, oh no, Black Wattle is the yarn brand. Jacaranda Sari is the base, and the colorway is the Coolness. And I got this from a yarn store in Australia. And then in Oklahoma City, I got this yarn. It is like a fingering weight confetti yarn. It's like a rainbow confetti and also a stellina. And I think the colorway is just periwinkle. I got these to hold together. I had done like a little swatch previously, but I hadn't decided exactly what I wanted to knit with them. So I thought, okay, I'll use these for the book club pullover. This is definitely not worsted weight, so I need to get another strand of yarn. So I'll get another strand on Sunday at the Rose City Yarn Crawl. I had a yarn specifically in mind that I wanted. There's this colorway called Poppy Blue from Knitting for Olive, and I thought, okay, I know a couple of the stores at Rose City, like in Portland, carry Knitting for Olive, so hopefully one of them carries Knitting for Olive Merino, has the Poppy Blue color. I'll grab that. I'll use those 3 strands together, and I will knit the book club pullover with that and use yarn that I already had on hand. Great, I was so excited. I woke up in the morning, I told all my friends the new plan. They were like, great, this sounds good. We go to the yarn stores. We could find Knitting for Olive. We found Knitting for Olive Merino, couldn't find Poppy Blue. So that was a bummer. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just have to go back. I know the Lumbersery, my local yarn store here near Seattle, has it. So it's like, I can just order it from them and it's not a big deal. I'll just be like a few days behind my friends. Then at Starlight Knitting Society, I found this yarn, which is Universal Yarns Uni Merino, and the colorway is Cascade. So here's what the label looks like. And I didn't have these yarns with me, but my friend Maya actually had the Knitting for Olive Merino Poppy Blue with her because she's working on a project in that color. So she like held that up and I was like, I think that's the right color. So we compared it and this seemed like it would work, and I think it does. It's a little bit brighter than these two, but I thought, okay, that's gonna work great. Somewhere in my mind, I don't know what happened here. I swear to you, I knew the yardage needed. I swear I knew the yardage needed because I looked it up. I think I looked it up in the middle of the night when I first had this idea to see if I had enough of these yarns. And it was close, but I was like, I think I have enough of these. I needed like 900 something yards. It's like 960 or something. So I was like, okay, I had that in my head. We go to Starlight Knitting Society. I find this yarn. I look at the yardage. The yardage says 437 yards. And for some reason, my brain like short circuits and I think I just need 2 of these. That's great. I only need 2. And they were like $11, $12 a piece or something like that. It's like, I'm gonna get just 2 of these and I'm golden. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know what happened to me. But anyway, I buy 2 of them. I go home. That night, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to swatch. And I realize I only have 2 of these. And I'm just so disappointed because I went to all this effort. Of course, I'm back in Seattle now, so I can't just pop back over and get another skein. I don't think they sell this yarn online. I could have ordered it online elsewhere, but it probably would have been a different dye lot. I was messaging my friend Megan about this, and she so sweetly was planning to go back to Portland like a month later, and she's like, I'll just get you another skein then, no big deal. It's so thoughtful of her. So I was like, okay, let me just sleep on it. Maybe this sweater is just doomed. It's just not meant to be. I go to sleep, you know, the next day, I'm feeling like, okay, especially if I think that Megan might be able to get me another skein of this yarn, I'm just gonna move forward as planned. I'm gonna swatch and make sure that I like the way that it looks. Because I knew that I liked the look of this stitch pattern on with a tweed yarn because this is a tweed yarn and I liked it, but I didn't know if like the sparkle tweed would be something different or with this color or this combination of fabrics. I still was like a little unsure because this wasn't what I had initially planned to do with this yarn or what I had initially planned to do with this pattern. So I was like, okay, let's just make sure that I like it. So I start swatching and I didn't even finish my swatch. You can see I also pulled these needles out and y'all might disagree with me and that's totally fine. But I started swatching and I just didn't like it. I just did not love it. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is about this swatch that I don't like. I don't know if it's the confetti. I don't know if it's the color or the texture or the fabric or anything, but I just was looking at it. It's like, I don't like this. And I sent it to my friends. I sent it to my friend Maya first too. And I was like, I don't think I like this. And she was also like, this doesn't feel right. And it doesn't feel right. So I decided I'm not gonna force it. I really don't want to buy yarn for this when I have so much yarn in my stash already that I love and that I want to work with. So maybe for the first time in my life, I decided I'm gonna sit out this knit along with my friends. And I'm so sad, and that made me so sad to realize because I want to participate, and I could just buy yarn for it and I could do it. But it's not even about that. It's not like a financial thing. It's not like I don't want to buy yarn at all right now. I'm unwilling to buy yarn because I'll show you I have like acquisitions that I made over the last few weeks. I'm willing to buy yarn if it's right, but it didn't feel, I don't know, it just felt like, I'm normally not this type of person, but it just felt like the universe was telling me, no, this is not it for you right now. And I was almost finished with my sweater spin that I've been working on forever, and I knew that I would want to cast on that project very soon. So I decided I'm just gonna put this on hold. I will probably make the book club cardigan or pullover at some point, and then it'll be delayed. I'll get to match my friends later. And some of my friends too said like they've got other stuff they're working on. Like my friend Katie was like, I'm not gonna finish this for a long time, Emily. So if you eventually get yarn and you wanna work on this, then I'm with you, and we can, even if we didn't start at the same time, we can finish at the same time, or, you know, I can start around the time that some of my friends are finishing or whatever, and like, I'll match them eventually. But now is just not the time. I don't know. This probably doesn't sound like that big of a deal too. It's like, oh yeah, you thought you were gonna make this thing and then it didn't work out, and who cares? But I don't know if any of you have had this happen to you too, where you had your heart set on it and it didn't work, and I don't know, it felt a little bit heartbreaking in the moment. And it really, I think this whole process really hurt my knitting mojo as well. I'm gonna be honest, because I think that I was so excited to start this project, and I had been putting other things on hold to wait for this. And then when it didn't happen, I didn't have a backup plan ready, and I don't know. It just wasn't great. But anyway, I have come to terms with it. I'm at peace. And spoiler alert, I finished my sweater spin, and so I'm ready for my next garment, and I can't wait to tell you about it because I've been holding off to cast on because I wanted to show you all the yarn together on the podcast before I wound one up and cast on. So after this, maybe tonight, I'm gonna cast on, and I'm so ready, and I'm excited for that. And that's also a knit along with my friends. So it's okay, everything's good. But anyway, that was my woes. That was my knitting woes. I feel like I was very, like I think I was sharing on Instagram and like my stories or whatever that I was having knitting woes, and I did not mean to be like weird and I don't know, like intense about it, but now you know, those were the woes. Those were the knitting woes. I think that maybe part of what I didn't like about my swatch was this yarn in particular, which was a little out there for me in the first place. So I may end up just destashing this yarn and then using these two together for something. So anyway, if you like this yarn and you're interested in it, I have, I think, 3 skeins of it, fingering weight. Let me know and I will sell it to you for like a lot less than I paid for. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, if you're interested, message me on Instagram or something. I may like post about it in my stories or something eventually, but I don't know. I'm feeling ready to part with this yarn. But if you like it, which I still really like, but I just think it's not quite right for me. But anyway, let me know. Okay, next up is, let's do spinning. I think that's next. Let me get back to my notes. Okay. Spinning and future plans, which are related. I finally finished my second ever sweater spin that I've been working on since I think like last September maybe. And it's done, and it's here, and I love it, and I'm so pleased. Let me hold it all up and show you. Can I hold them all? Let's see. Here it is. Okay, yes. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed. I'm truly obsessed. Look at it. Here, I'll hide my face so you can just look at the yarn. I'm so pleased. So pleased with how this turned out. I look at it and I just can't even believe that I made this myself. I made this with my hands and my feet. Okay, let me give you the details. This is a 2-ply with 1 strand is Northwest Yarns, just like a gray BFL that they carry. This is actually, when I bought my wheel I bought it from Northwest Yarns. When you buy a wheel from them, you get 1 pound of fiber for free, just like included with the purchase of your wheel. And I got, I think, 8 ounces of this gray BFL at that point, and then I got 8 more ounces later when I knew I was going to spin this. But it's very cool to use the fiber that I got with the original purchase of my wheel. Is just so fun. So anyway, I used that for 1 ply, like 1 strand, and then the other strand, or the other ply, is a patchwork kit that I got from Hello Yarn, which I used most of the patchwork kit. I had some left over, but yeah, I pretty much just used all of the patchwork kit. If you're unfamiliar with the patchwork kits from Hello Yarn, it's basically, I think I showed this forever ago whenever I was prepping for this spin. It's a giant bag of just like little bits and pieces of hand-dyed fiber, and what I did is I just broke it up into tiny pieces, and I like wound them up into 1 ounce balls just randomly, and then when I was ready to spin, I would just grab one of my 1 ounce balls and spin it up. I ended up, for some reason, I think the grist was just pretty different on the gray and the colorful, so I ended up using all of my gray, all 1 pound of my gray, but I had like 2 or 3 ounces of the colorful left over. So for some reason, I tried to spin them roughly the same thickness, and I think I did a pretty good job, but for some reason the colorful one just went a lot longer, even at the same thickness and same weight, I guess. I got a lot more yardage out of that single. Yeah, and then this was just a Stater 2-ply. I think I already said that. I am so pleased with the consistency on this. I feel like this is, again, I'm just getting better and better with my consistency. I think this is 1 skein from each batch. So I did it in 3 different batches, which is also impressive, and I was spinning over such a long period of time that I can't believe it's honestly this consistent. But I started in September. I did 1 batch before the end of the year. My spinning mojo was like really strong at the beginning, and then it was low for a while, and so then I did the second 2 batches, or the second and third batches this year. So let's see, what else do I need to say? Yeah, I guess I did 4 or 5 ounce bobbins of each of the singles, and then I plied them together and made 2 skeins each batch. So that's why I made 6 skeins total. I didn't have enough bobbins to do all the singles first, and I could have bought more bobbins, but honestly, I kind of liked breaking it up like that and doing the plying kind of consistently throughout the process. I think that this is my first batch because I did the worst job in my first batch about splitting when I was plying, splitting it so that I had the 2 skeins be pretty even. I just loaded up my first bobbin when I was plying and made this this is my biggest skein by far, and then I didn't have as much left, so this one's smaller. So this, I'm pretty sure, was my first batch. And then I think this is my middle batch. I'm pretty sure this was my middle batch. This batch I think was a tiny bit thinner than the other 2, which is okay, but I really like the color. This skein in particular, I really like the colors of. I don't know, which is funny because it's a lot of green, and I normally don't love green as much as blue, but it's kind of yellowy too. I like how it turned out. And then this I think is my last batch. It's again got back to be a little bit thicker. This I think is my favorite skein. This was in my last batch. I love this little bit of red in it, and it's very blue forward and like a tealy blue, which I love. So I think this is definitely, and look at that mustard bit there. Oh, I love it. Anyway, I think this is my favorite skein, and then this one, which is the other one from this batch, I think might be my least favorite skein, just color-wise. It's very purple, which is beautiful, but also is not me. Very purple and orange. But still beautiful. Just, I like the other ones better. But anyway, yeah, I think those are my batches, and I'm really pleased. I got a yardage counter as a holiday gift last year, and I just used it for the first time because I wound up my sample and I knit a swatch. So let me see, I think I have it here. Yeah, I can show you my swatch because I think I shared previously my plans for this. I am knitting the Traveler hoodie by Andrea Mowry. And here's my little swatch. And it's so stretchy, look at that. And the texture is so fun. And I love it. Here's my little caked up, this was my sample because I didn't want to break into any of the full skeins yet. So I just knit my swatch from my sample. And I used my yardage counter for the first time, which was really fun. I think I got 84 yards in my sample. I don't remember. This was a 2 ounce sample. So this is I guess a half skein. And it's really cute and really fun. I know in the actual sweater, in the hoodie, the color changes are going to be way faster than this because, of course, the circumference of the body is way more than this little square. Even on the sleeves, the color changes will be quicker than this. So it's going to look totally different, and I cannot wait to cast on because I can't wait to see what it's going to look like. But yeah, oh, sorry, Norman is trying to leave. I had the door closed because I didn't want to let the heat out. Okay, let me let me let him out and I will be back. Okay, it's actually been a little bit longer than just letting Norman out of the room. I went and helped put away some groceries, but I'm back now. And I was talking about my sweater spin and how pleased I am with it. And I took a couple pictures, but I want to take a few more pictures of it in yarn form. That's almost the saddest part about casting on with my hand spun, which I love to do, and I love to knit with my hand spun. And this little swatch has me so excited about knitting this sweater with my hand spun, but once I knit it into a sweater, I don't get to see it in yarn form anymore. So I have to make sure, I'm almost like I finished this a couple days ago and I washed it and I dried it, and I have almost been hesitant to get started because I want to make sure that I have it really well documented in this form so that I can look back at my photos or my videos or anything. And that's why I also wanted to make sure to film a video here before I cast on, because I want to be able to look back at this and for you all to see it also in this form before I start knitting it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try to maybe take a couple more pictures and then I'm gonna cast on maybe tonight my next hand spun sweater. And I can't wait, and I'm feeling very excited. I think this is also great hoodie yarn. I think this is just gonna make a very fun hoodie because, you know, the classic hoodie is gray, but it's like a fun gray. It's like gray with a twist, with a colorful twist. So yeah, I'm very pleased. I don't know, there were a lot of times during the process of knitting or of spinning this that I was nervous that it wasn't going to be consistent enough, or I wasn't going to like the way that the yarn turned out, the color, or I don't know. I just had a lot of doubts, and it still could not turn out the way that I am hoping, and I may start knitting this and be like, I hate it. But at least right now, looking at these skeins, I'm just like looking lovingly down at them. I'm feeling very proud and I'm feeling very happy. So yeah, and I can't wait to make something beautiful with them. So that's that. I was going to mention quickly about my next spin because I am feeling a little bit more spinning energy now. Nothing like a good dose of positive, happy, finished spin endorphins to get me feeling like I want to keep spinning. But I spun a while back this skein, which is the cinnamon roll fiber from Mitchell Wool Co. And I just had 4 ounces of it that I picked up at Flock Fiber Festival in 2023, I believe. And then I actually had a friend reach out and ask if she could send me 8 more ounces that she had and wasn't going to use. And so I have, this is just like stuffed into my drawer, so it has kind of come undone, but I have 8 more ounces. So I'm thinking for my next up spin, I'm going to spin the rest of this and maybe make an Avenue vest by Tori Yu. I think would be really fun. I'm undecided whether I want to do the V-neck or the crew neck, so look up the pattern and let me know what you think about, should I do, it's basically just a simple vest, either another V-neck vest like this one or a crew neck. I'm not sure what I want to do, but if you don't remember me spinning this before, this fiber feels so incredible. It feels so soft, and honestly it was kind of a trick to spin because it was so smooth and like just slippery almost, but the finished skein feels incredible, and I think this vest would feel amazing. So I'm very grateful for getting some more of this fiber, thank you. And I am very excited about this, and I'm hoping that, yeah, I can finish this and then knit a lovely vest. And then after this, I'm feeling very excited about doing some long draw practice. So I have a couple fibers in my stash that would be good for long draw, and I'll probably pick out one of those and do that next after, because for Tour de Fleece this year in July, I'm really wanting to spin my first ever woolen spun like long draw sweater quantity. So I want to do a little bit of practice before then. So that's what I think I'm going to do next. But first up, this squishy, soft dream pile of goodness and make myself a little vest. So that's the plan next. Okay, I need to take this upstairs with me so I can start spinning it. Okay, that is it for spinning. I have a tiny little taste of sewing content update as well. I've not been sewing very much. I haven't sewn in a long time, but I've been feeling a little bit of the itch. I think it happens in the spring. I think of spring as sewing time for some reason, and I pulled out some fabric because I want to sew another half circle skirt. So y'all may remember this. I have this downstairs with me because I was using it to map out. This is from forever ago. I sewed this skirt. I don't remember when exactly, but I sewed this half circle skirt, which I love and I wear all the time and is like my favorite thing I've ever sewn. I love it. And I got this fabric in New Zealand from, what is it called? I think it's just called the Fabric Store. And I want to make another half circle skirt. So I had planned last week I was going to cut out the pieces. I think what I need to do for my sewing is do it more in pieces, and rather than like, I'm gonna sew a skirt today and try to do the entire process, I think I'm gonna try to do like one day, the plan is just to cut out the fabric, like cut out the pattern pieces. And then the next day I just sew for an hour, like as much, you know what I mean? I think I need to do it incrementally. So I did the first step, which was pulling the fabric out and laying it on the ground and putting my skirt on top of it. And then I was like, I don't have the energy to do any more here. So I didn't. So I haven't really done anything except for decide and pull the fabric out of my closet. But the next step is gonna be cutting it out and then actually sewing it. And I'm hoping to sew this over the course of like maybe the next couple of weeks. I'm really gonna slow play it. I'm not gonna push too hard, but maybe over the next couple of weeks, I can sew myself a skirt. I kind of want to make a cute matching top with it, but that's too much for me to think about right now. So we're just gonna go skirt for now. And then by springtime, maybe I will have a new skirt. I don't know, but that's the hope. So that is all I have for sewing. I also, I guess maybe I have one more small thing, which is I mentioned earlier I have a couple of knit fabrics that I want to sew t-shirts out of, and I talked to my friend Maya and we were maybe gonna do like a little t-shirt sewing day together because I don't have a serger and I've never sewn knits before and I'm scared, and she's capable and helpful. So I'm hoping she can help me do some t-shirt sewing and we can do it together. So that may be upcoming in the spring too, but not like a this is happening right now thing, just something we're dreaming about. Okay, that's it, I think, for like project updates. I have a couple acquisitions that I can share, and I went to a few fiber events I'm gonna talk briefly about, and then I can do like a brief life update. But this already feels like it's been so long, and I am doing a video call with my family in like 10 minutes. So we've got 10 more minutes and I need to finish in like basically 10 minutes. So I'm gonna do my best to get through what I can. Let's go through acquisitions first and then see what else we get to. So acquisitions wise, these were pretty much all at, these were all at the fiber event. So maybe I can just do these two pieces together at the same time. So a few weeks ago, I went to La Mercerie for the Explore Knits and Fibers pop-up, which is now I think become an annual tradition. Allie and Darren from Explore Knits will come to La Mercerie for a pop-up on the weekend before Rose City Yarn Crawl, which is in Portland. So they came and brought some beautiful yarns. I met up with a couple of my friends and we went over together and had lunch afterward, and it was lovely. I honestly I don't know. I love the fiber community. I love my fiber friends. I love going to La Mercerie, especially because it's such a beautiful yarn store, and I just feel so inspired whenever I go in there. And I could have bought so much yarn there just because everything is so beautiful, and especially like the Explorer Knits yarn is so beautiful, and Allie and Darren are so sweet, and I love everything they brought. I somehow limited myself just to buying a couple of balls of yarn that I'm planning to pair with some other yarn that I already have for a sweater, which y'all may remember me talking about late last year. So let me show you what I got. I got these 2 balls of Rerum Natura Berenice in the colorway Sauge. Here's what it looks like, and maybe some of you can guess what this is for. If you remember last year, I went to Sacred Sheep. Okay, well, first step is I spun, let me see if I can get this out. Okay, I spun this yarn. This is the Gently Chaotic Knits colorway from Yarn Jam. I did the super fun collab with Trisha last year, and this was my colorway, the Gently Chaotic Knits colorway, on the natural Shanico base, which is a breed that's a cross between Merino and Rambouillet. I've talked extensively in the past about this fiber and this yarn that I made, so I'm not going to go super into depth now, but anyway, I spun this and I decided that I wanted to knit a tessellated pullover with it. And I went to Sacred Sheep last year. Can I get this out? Let me see, sorry, it may take me a second to get this out. Smacked my knee hard on the chair. Ah, that hurt. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore it. I got this yarn from Sacred Sheep to go with it as the main color. This is Magpie Fibers Nest Sport. It's a 100% non-superwash Corriedale. I talked about this after I got it. And they had a colorway of plume there that I really liked that was this light kind of sagey, minty, bluey color. But I thought I could probably find something similar at La Mercerie, which La Mercerie carries so many different types and colorways of that like fluff yarn, whether it be Sari or mohair or whatever. And I was right, I found what I think is the perfect color. So I don't know if the light is like weird, it's kind of getting blown out, but here at least you can maybe see it a little bit. I'm very pleased. So anyway, I brought these 2 with me to the shop and then I picked this one out and I think it's gonna be really, really nice. I'm very excited about this. So I almost cast this on like during my garment slump and was like, I just really want to knit on this, and maybe I should have. But now I'm definitely going to cast on the Traveler hoodie first, and this may be my first sweater post summer. So what I normally do is like through the months of like May to July, and August sometimes too, I'll mostly knit on summer garments, so like tees and tanks, and then I'll do my first sweater back into fall knitting will be maybe in August. So I'm thinking this might be a good one to start with in August when I come back to sweater knitting, but I don't know, I might not be able to wait, and after I finish the hoodie I might cast this one on next, but I'm feeling very excited about that. So this was my acquisition from that weekend. And otherwise, that weekend was just really lovely. We just took a day trip. I took the ferry over and met up first with my friend Maya and then with a couple of my other friends. And like I mentioned, we had lunch at Bassa, which is my favorite on Bainbridge Island. And I just got to see so many lovely folks. Got to see Jess and, like I mentioned, the Explore Knits team. And it was lovely. It was a lovely day and I'm very pleased with the yarn that I found to go with this. So anyway, that was the first event. That was my only acquisition from that day. And then next was the Rose City Yarn Crawl, which I already mentioned briefly. I think most of my acquisitions I already talked about. So one was this Uni Merino that I got to pair with the other blue yarn in my attempt to do the book club pullover. But that's not gonna work out, but I still have this yarn. So that was also an acquisition that I think I'm gonna keep and pair with this yarn for something fun. So that was one. I also mentioned the stitch markers from Knitting and Root. I have those all spread out on different projects, but I'm gonna put a picture up here. I got, basically, she had these little, like you could build your own set she had this like tray, I wish I had a picture of it. She had this tray out of a whole bunch of like different little markers and different colors, and you could mix and match and make your own mini set, and Maya and I both did that, and I'll put a picture up. I'm sure you can guess. You've already seen some of mine, so you probably know which one is mine. Also, my colors are very predictable, but we both made like cutie little sets, and I've already put them on several of my projects, so that was another acquisition. And then my last acquisition was some Noro Madara. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And let's see. Yeah, Madara, M-A-D-A-R-A, which I think is a really popular Noro yarn that I've seen all over the place. But what really got me on this yarn was Ozetta Haley knit her original sample for the Lakes cardigan in this yarn. I think actually this yarn plus a strand of mohair silk, and it was so cute. And my friend Maya and I are like dying to make some patterns from the Lakes series, Ozetta's Lake series. So she just is like, I think, testing the cardigan right now. She also has a crew neck pullover and a V-neck pullover, and I don't know if I'll make the cardigan or not, and I don't know if I'll make both. I think Maya wants to make all three in the series. I may just make the crew neck pullover. But anyway, I decided I wanted to do it in this Noro yarn. And so one of the yarn shops that we went to in the yarn crawl carried Noro Madara in the colorway that I wanted, which is this gray colorway. I don't know, I guess the color is color 3. And here's what it looks like. You may be like, Emily, what, is that a gray tweed yarn? Did you not just show us another gray tweed yarn? And one of my friends who was at Rose City Yarn Crawl with me, when I showed, where is this watch? When I showed this yarn, she was like, you already knit up the yarn that you got at that yarn store? Because it looks, I mean, this one's lighter, but if you're not looking at them next to each other, I have a type, okay? I like. And then also I just spun this, which is basically gray yarn with bits of color in it. I'm nothing if not predictable, okay? But yeah, gray yarn with colorful flecks. Here I have some more, which I'm very excited about. This yarn feels incredible. I did not know that. I did not know the fiber content. I didn't know that this yarn felt great. It is 60% wool, 30% silk, and 10% alpaca. It feels so good. You look at this yarn, you're like, it looks tweedy, it looks maybe kind of rustic. Like, I just did not expect it to feel as good as it does. It feels incredible. So I'm very excited for that. This is not gonna happen until the fall probably, but I'm very excited for this. And that was it. That was all my acquisitions at Rose City Yarn Crawl. I already talked a little bit about my experience there. I was planning to drive up on Friday, and then unfortunately, because of some work stuff, I wasn't able to go until Saturday morning, but that's okay. I got to drive up with my friend Maya on Saturday, and then we hit some yarn stores on Saturday. We went to Naughty Lamb and got to see Allie and Darren from Explorer Knits again, and we got some delicious noodles, and like the food the whole weekend was great. And then we went to a couple yarn stores. We cast on our book club cardigans / pullovers, and I had my whole book club pullover woes. And then Sunday morning we went and got some donuts, and we went to a couple more yarn stores. I didn't end up going to all of them. Some of my friends went on to like some of the stores on Friday before we got there, and that was fine with me. I got to go to all the ones I really wanted to. And yeah, just got to spend the weekend hanging out and knitting and chatting with my pals. And it was lovely, and I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, and then we drove back on Sunday, and that was pretty much it. We had decent weather. We had great times. So, yeah, A+ Rose City Yarn Crawl. I got to have 2 fun fiber weekends in a row, which was delightful. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for acquisitions and fiber related events. The last thing I was going to talk about is just like rapid fire some life stuff that's been going on. So if you're not interested in that, feel free to hop off and I will see you all later. But very quickly, since it's been over a month, what's been happening with me, I had multiple family visits. My parents came to visit, my sister and her fiance came to visit. Both of those visits were delightful. We did lots of cooking, we did some hiking, we did some farmers marketing, we did some watching of Survivor, all kinds of fun stuff. Work has been pretty busy recently. I am really getting into it. I've been at my new job now for, I guess, almost 5 months. I started in October and it's March. So that's wild. I can't believe it. But we launched the company has been launching things, but I participated in my first launch with the company a couple weeks ago, and that went really well, and that was really exciting. So I feel good about that, and I'm feeling good about how things are going there, but it has definitely been busy. But I wanted to mention quickly that I think I've been doing a way better job than I expected or than I have in the past about just mentally separating and giving my all to my work when I'm working and being able to put that aside and not spend my non-work time thinking about it or stressing about it or whatever. So I don't know. I am just feeling really proud of myself for that. And I just wanted to mention that quickly here. If that's something you struggle with, you can do it. You can definitely do it. But anyway, I don't have like really good tips or tricks or anything. I've just been like really working really hard to try and separate. And I think I'm doing a better job. Don't get Slack on your phone. That's the key for me that I have. Anyway, other things, I went to my first ever NHL game, my first ever hockey game. We went and saw the Seattle Kraken, and that was so much fun. And I've decided now that I'm obsessed with hockey, and I love hockey. It may be short-lived because baseball season is coming back. Well, baseball season actually technically started. The Dodgers and Cubs played in Japan last week, but baseball season is coming to the States. This week, we're going to Mariners opening day on Thursday, and I can't wait. So maybe the hockey love is short-lived. But I kind of want to go to another Kraken game before the season ends. I feel like I'm talking so fast. I need to go. I needed to go 3 minutes ago, but I'm trying to speed run this. Okay, went to a hockey game. We've been hiking. We got micro spikes and did our first ever spike hike yesterday. Spike hike. And it was beautiful. And we went to this beautiful lake. And I'll put a picture up here maybe if I remember. And it was so much fun. So we've been doing some hiking. We're getting ready for some other bigger hiking later this year too. So that's exciting. We're getting hiking season in the spring and summer. Cooking and baking, speed run. I've been doing lots of sourdough baking recently. I am getting way better at making sourdough bread and I'm pumped about it. My friend Serena has been a huge help and we've been chatting about bread and everything and I am loving that. So that's really fun. I am gonna try higher hydration next time and add more water to my dough and see if I can get like more air bubbles and holes, but I'm pumped about that. We made shakshuka with the sourdough bread and we've been making like soups and eating the bread with that and that's amazing. I'm definitely in soup season. I'm loving that. I made my first ever handmade pie crust this morning. We made quiche and I made pie crust for the first time. Normally I just buy it from the store, but I made my own pie crust. I was like, why am I not doing this? I should be trying this. And it was, I think, good. It wasn't perfect, but I'm trying and I'm gonna keep trying and try again and I'm pumped about that. That was really good. What else? I made lasagna for the first time when my parents were here. That was fun. I'd never made lasagna before. It was not that hard. I don't know why in my head I was like, lasagna seems so intense, but I used this recipe that I got from my friend Jess, not La Mercerie Jess, a different Jess, but I got the recipe from her and I made lasagna and it turned out great. What else? We made dumplings. I love making dumplings. That was great. I think that's pretty much it. Other brunches, we made scones, we made, oh, sourdough bagels. Did I tell you all about the sourdough bagels? I don't remember if I had talked about this when we last recorded. I've made sourdough bagels a couple times now and they were so good. So definitely sourdough bagels, I would say yes, go for it. I used a recipe from the Clever Carrot. I can try to link it here if I didn't last time. I don't remember if I made them for the first time last time, but sourdough bagels, yes. Really easy and so yummy. Okay, I think that's it. I gotta run. I gotta go talk to my family now. I'm already 5 minutes late, so I'm gonna call it here. Sorry if that was really hectic at the end, but I wanted to get in as much as I can. Thank you for listening. I know this episode was super long. I feel like it had been so long since I last recorded. I'm gonna try not to make it as long next time, but we'll see what I'm able to accomplish in my making, and I will try to keep updating y'all. Thank you for tuning in and sticking with me. And I hope you watch lots of baseball. Huge news, baseball's coming. I hope you're ready, I'm pumped. And I hope you do lots of knitting and spinning and any other crafting that makes you feel good. And I will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.